Good evening, Vancouver, and welcome back to Canucks After Dark, right on time at 10:15 p.m. As always, joined by my co-host, Canuck Clay. How are you doing today, Clay?
I'm okay, Parker. Just walked in the door. Didn't even have a chance to change out of my bowling jersey, as you see. But I am here. I'm thrilled to be here. I won. I beat my opponent by 1 yesterday, just like the Canucks beat the Canadiens by 1 point yesterday. I want to hear all about your Botchford Project, but just give me a chance to catch my breath, do all the intro stuff, and nice haircut, by the way.
Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah. I will take the heat off of you a little bit here. A pretty turbulent week for the Canucks, I think, that we will get into. I think we have 4 games to go over, as in 2 losses early last week, as the Canucks were sort of on a nice little stretch there. When we went to our last show, we were like, 3-0, things are looking up, things are looking good. And then 2 rough showings against the Capitals and Panthers, but they bounced back with 2 comeback wins against the Coyotes on Saturday and the Habs last night. And calling last night a comeback win is an understatement. I think it was a very Canucks-esque collapse by the Montreal Canadiens, actually to another level. I don't think the Canucks have blown a 4-goal lead yet this year. So we will take a look back at those 4 games, primarily the later 2. We will then take a look forward into what we should only have as 2 games this week, with 1 game being tomorrow, Wednesday, and then the Canucks will play till Saturday, and they don't play again till Wednesday, the 14th. So they have a nice little, and then they don't play after that until the 17th. So the Canucks only play 4 games in the next 11 days. So a lot of chance for rest, a lot of chance for maybe a guy like Spencer Martin to bounce back. And then what else are we going to talk about? Brock Boeser. That's the big one, right?
Yeah.
I was sort of in the middle of it.
Yeah.
On Saturday, when everything sort of went down, and it was very interesting to be in the middle of all the media when that was happening. So we'll go into that. And then that's basically it, right?
Yeah, and I love how we go in chronological order, because that means we don't have to spend, and we can't remember, so we don't have to spend too much time on the Washington, Florida losses, and then we can dive into your experience, Boeser, Arizona game at the same time, Botchford, and then we can relive last night's craziness. But I guess we should go chronologically, and not a great start to our homestand.
No, and we don't have to spend much time on this one, because this is, I think, the Alex Ovechkin game, where Ovechkin, I guess, needed 2 goals to break some sort of record, road goals, NHL road goals, and he just got them both. 11 minutes in, he was done, and the Canucks were done. Höglander scored 1, and then the Capitals just ran away with this one. I mean, it was a 5-1 win. Spencer Martin got the start in this one, and I remember we had this conversation about, like, do you go Martin, do you go Demko? I played devil's advocate and took Martin, and that
you're right.
Go very well. Well, I was right, as in it's what happened, but it was the wrong move, clearly. I mean, this was just a bad game around. I think Elias Pettersson was a -5 in this game.
That's right.
His worst game ever by far. Kuzmenko -3, McCabe -3, Kyle Burroughs -3. The Canucks just looked derailed in this one.
And then, I can't even remember the goals. Well, I can, but I don't want to remember them. Do you excuse the Canucks? Like, I've never bought in. Parker, help me out. I've never bought into this first game back after a road trip. Shouldn't you be kind of energized? I get there's a flight home, so I get that. But it was only from San Jose, wasn't it?
That's not a long flight. It's like 2 hours or so.
Yeah. Same time zone.
Yeah, and they had the 1 day off in between. They were 2 back-to-backs before that. But, you just went out and cleaned up, 3 straight wins on a tough road trip. Yeah. And you're coming back home. You got the crowd ahead of you. But, man, the Canucks just look bad at home. And this was a real sort of driving force in this game where they didn't have any jump. They just got they got beat in the first period 3-1, and then they never had a chance to come back in it. Just bad.
So do you I get you make a great point. I think that's what the frustrating thing was, because I know we were touting how they were 1 game under 500, and all they have to do is finish over 500 on this homestand, and they'll be at 500 at least. And so we were pretty pumped. They knocked off 2 really good teams. San Jose, they struggled, but they got the win. And you're right. I think that's what the more frustrating thing is for me, Parker, is is regardless of if the road trip was 3 games, 5 games, 1 game, I get that there is some fatigue, even though you said short flight from North California, short flight, same time zone. But I think to come out and basically lay an egg, at least make the game competitive, try and get a point. I don't know, but it was over after the first period.
Yeah, and they just had no fight in the second or third.
Yeah. Did you go to this one?
No. I went to the game on the Thursday.
Yes.
Which I forgot about until you actually mentioned.
What, you forgot you went?
I forgot that I went. So this game, Thursday, December 1st, was the Hall of Fame one. So Luongo and the Scenes were there, which was lovely. The Canucks put out absolutely no performance in front of them. And this was just a monumental first period collapse. The Canucks were doing fine throughout the first. I mean, not great. I mean, they ended up being outshot 18-8 in the first. But like the first 15 minutes or so, nothing too crazy, nothing too brutal. And then we see them allow 3 goals in 59 seconds to the Panthers. 18-14, 18-49, 19-13. And just like that, the Canucks are going to the break down 3, and this game is effectively over.
So I know we're going to get into why that third goal was so costly, but Parker, I was in such a good mood for this game, and truly, I'm not just saying this. I knew you were going to be there, even though we didn't get a chance to meet up because I think everyone was just shell shocked of Demko getting hurt and whatever. Marie sang the anthem. I was her guest, but as you know, only because Marie was late, I was waiting for her where all the players drive in or walk up. I got to meet Roberto Luongo and shake his hand and thank him and congratulate him on making the Hockey Hall of Fame, and that was only because Marie was a few minutes late. So everything started off so good. Luongo, Marie crushing the anthems. You're there, I'm there. Usually that's a guaranteed win. And then basically the Canucks let Florida shoot like 4 times in 5 seconds on Demko. Left, right. And then, did we even know what's wrong with him? Did they say?
I think it was like a knee or something. I don't remember. I don't remember. I wasn't paying much attention.
Was that on your side of the rink or were you on the other side?
I was on the other side.
Oh, okay, yeah, me too.
I have a funny anecdote actually that I guess I can say. I hope it doesn't hurt your feelings.
Do you think anything hurts my feelings? Look at me.
So regarding your picture with Luongo, when I was up in the press box having dinner, J-Pat came over and introduced himself and whatever.
Wait, so this is Saturday then?
This is Saturday.
Okay.
And Drance mentioned to J-Pat that I'm the one that does the podcast with you.
Yeah.
And he said something along the lines of, I saw his picture with Luongo, where he was going to put him in a headlock or something and take him out before the ceremony or something like that. It was pretty funny.
Wait, J-Pat was worried that Luongo was going to do that to me, or I was going to do that to him?
You were going to do it to him. You were going to try to take him out with your in your picture there.
No, that's so cool though. I was going to say that's so cool that you got to hang out with Drance and J-Pat. We'll get to that chronologically. So yes, my point was I was very excited for this game, and the pregame ceremony was fine. It wasn't overdone, but wasn't it funny how Luongo even referenced the banner versus the Ring of Honor controversy?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, I wonder, do we have to address that? I guess we haven't talked since
we can do it quickly. We should probably do it quickly before once we get to the end of talking about this game before we move on. Yeah. Otherwise, we'll go all over the place.
I have nothing else to talk about in this game. They lost.
Well, Demko gets hurt, and it does not look good. He can't skate off under his own power. And what are they saying? 6 weeks now, right?
6 weeks. Oh. Yeah, and I guess we're half a week into it.
Yeah. Were people talking about it? I know we keep jumping around. Were people talking about it on Saturday or no? That Demko's injury?
A little bit, but not really.
Yeah. Okay.
I know, Bruce was asked about it and what Spencer has to do, and Bruce made a quip about I played Jonas Hiller 32 nights in a row or 32 games in a row or something like that.
Yeah.
So I got to run with a guy. I'll run with a guy, but that was the only real question about that.
No, and I want. Yes, by the way, a small detail, but we're not going to rush off tonight unless Parker needs to go to bed because I want to hear all about this Botchford Project. I haven't talked to Parker yet. I'm not doing my own show tonight, so we're not going to rush off to do that. So just in case anyone's wondering, so we can talk about that. Dakota Joshua, the only goal, kind of a fluke goal. He was trying to center it, and it just went in.
Yeah. I don't have much to add. And it was one of those, Bennett had just scored less than a minute before. So it was over. It was 4-0, and then now it's 4-1. I guess it's kind of within reach, but the way the Canucks were looking, it wasn't really within reach.
Okay, so we don't have to talk about the game at all. Let's talk quickly. But I actually haven't heard your take on it yet. Luongo, Ring of Honor versus jersey retirement.
I've given my take on it.
Oh, good.
I was always sort of in the middle on it. And then it's tough because like player wise, like he absolutely deserves to be there in the rafters. Just based on just goals saved above average, based on which is era adjusted effectively, right? Because against the average goalie of each year, Luongo was 7th all time in goals saved above average.
Wow.
Like that's like, could you imagine if the 7th best centerman of all time played for the Canucks for 8 years and they didn't put him in the rafters? Right. I think I saw a thing and it was like, yeah, it would be like if Steve Yzerman played for the Canucks for 8 years and then they didn't put him in the rafters. Right. And at that point it's like, okay, yeah, sure. His heart's sort of in Florida, but his best years were here. Like I've sort of transitioned into being on the, you know, that jersey should just be up in the rafters line of thinking.
Yeah, Parker, I'm really not glad that you said that. I'm glad to hear your opinion, no matter what it was, because we haven't talked about this. We haven't talked all week actually. So, and I'm trying very careful not to be biased. Everyone knows that Luongo is my favorite player, but I do think he can go in the rafters, and it's not an insult to Kirk McLean. It would be different if Luongo was first and then McLean came after and then wore the number. But McLean's in the Ring of Honor. That's still a decent. Well, the whole point is supposed to be a decent honor. I don't know if you have to go to McLean and say, "What do you think? Would you be offended?" Whatever. So I'm not upset that he's in the ring, but I do think he's worthy of going having his jersey retired.
And just Kirk McLean wasn't like, he was great, but he wasn't as good of a goalie as Luongo was, right? Like the numbers, you know, you look at your goals saved above average, for example, right? Because that does adjust for era. And Luongo was one of the best goalies ever, right? Yeah. Top 10, basically. Yeah. It seems, you know, it's weird. It's the number one, right? So it's a bit harder. If he had worn like 79 or something, like I think Spencer Knight does, or whatever that number might be, or like 40, right? Like they would have made it happen, or even maybe like 31. I bet it works too. Yeah. But no one really wears 1 anymore, anyways, as a goalie, right? Everyone's sort of 30, 35, 39 sometimes. So yeah, sure. I think. But the other thing is the Canucks have too many jerseys retired. But I think again that helps Luongo's case more than hinders it.
Great point.
Because the Canucks do have too many jerseys retired. But
that's right. Actually, that's a really good point. The 2 things we saw on Twitter amidst that controversy was, number one, how do the Canucks have 6 jerseys retired for a franchise that doesn't have a cup yet? So we see that a lot. And number 2, it was a lot of people were saying, not claiming ageism, but they were saying, oh, anyone who's doesn't think McLean must be under the age of 25 or 30. But no, some are older, like me. I'm 48 years old, and I watched the 94 run where McLean was. And he's great. He was good. He was even great. But I don't think he's Hall of Fame nor jersey retirement. And that doesn't mean I don't like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am firmly in the same boat.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Done with that one.
All right. Let's move on then to, I guess we're on Saturday then. Did anything happen? But like Friday? No. Nothing after that Panthers game. Rumors were flying. Because the team was bad on the previous 2 nights. But yeah, we get to Saturday. Hockey night in Canada, Canucks, Coyotes. Mm-hmm. Where do we want to start? Do we want to start in the morning, or do we want to just... Yeah, I guess we could probably start in the morning.
We could start in the morning, and then why don't you interlace your Botchford Project viewpoint as we go through the day?
Yeah, I think that's fair. So... morning skate starts at 10.
What time did you get there?
9:45. I actually got there at 9:15. I was told to get there at 9:45. So I went and I walked. I did 4 laps around the arena, killing time because I didn't want to be late. So I just was doing laps. We get in. Drance brings us in. Yeah. Basically go. We sit in basically section 118, like basically the middle. Yeah. Everyone sort of intersperses through there. So we've got the 3 of us. We've got Chris Faber sitting in front of us. We've got Dan Murphy sort of behind us to our right. Yeah. And then we've got all the other people sort of behind us. Scott Oak was there, which was surprising. I was like, oh, I guess it's after hours tonight, which was cool. And then, yeah, basically the Canucks come out and, Drance is sort of like talking with us like, hey, yeah, so you can see that because they're coming out slow, right? There's already like 4 people on the ice when we get there.
Sure.
And he's looking, he's like, yeah, they're all wearing different colored jerseys. Like there's going to be one colored jersey for each line. The deal, wear one colored jersey, whatever. And that's when the counting starts, right? So you hear Drance and Bachelor like trying to, like Drance.
They're racing, right?
Drance is like, who's that? Like Murph, who's that guy? And is like, is that Studnicka? And they're like trying to figure out. And Murph's like, it looks like a 19 on the helmet. And I'm thinking like, can't be 19. That's in the rafters. And it's 18. So they're sorting that out. Him and Bachelor are racing, but also like comparing notes at the same time.
Okay,
it wasn't super competitive,
right?
But as they're doing that, we start to count the jerseys, right? And so we see at one point, I think we see Garland, Dries, and Boeser all on the ice in the same color.
Yep.
And so they start contemplating and they say, well, it's probably Garland or Boeser not playing, right? So everyone behind us is sort of talking. And Drance is like, no, I think Boeser's out. And then like Murph is like, everyone's sort of talking and like figuring out, okay, we think it's Boeser that's going to be out. But we don't know until the line rushes start.
Oh, wait, Parker. That's because Joshua's also in that same color. Is that what you're saying?
But Joshua hadn't been on the ice yet when we had figured this out. I think there was one person who still wasn't on the ice. It was either Dries or Joshua, one of them.
Okay.
And I think they were pretty sure that Joshua wasn't coming out. Not coming out of the lineup. So they're thinking it's Boeser, and then they start to do line rushes, and Boeser's the one not involved in the first line rush.
Wow.
And then so Drance tweets it out. Batch sort of proofs his tweet with everyone. He's like, you guys think it's fair if I say there's a serious chance Boeser doesn't play? And Drance is like, yeah, he's not playing. Like it was like, yeah, it's clear what's going on. And so it's just a bunch of commotion, basically, right? Like Kevin Woodley's getting in on it, and everyone's like trying to figure out what's going on. So morning skate, that was kind of it. They head off the ice. We've got all the lines figured out, what's going on. PR comes up and is like, hey, who do you guys want to talk to in the dressing room for like general media? They say, well, we want to talk to Six. Because he's scratched. And then there was a couple other guys. Brock Boeser did not get questioned by the media because he was out on the ice late, right? So we all go down to the dressing room. Faber takes us over to the ice to see everyone who's definitely scratched because they're still on the ice. And then we go to the locker room. We do our interviews with the players that we had selected, which went great. And then we went to the media room and we waited for 20 minutes because we have to wait for Boudreau because they always have a team meeting after morning skate. So they said, this is the 20 minutes of killing time. So that's what we did. We killed time for 20 minutes.
Did you get to ask any of the guys a question?
I could have, but I did not.
Okay. I just wondering.
I mean, other than the one I interviewed. And then, so we do, Boudreaux's availability. They're asking about Boeser, the whole tough love quote, asking about Dakota Joshua because he was out on the PP2 unit during morning skate. So asking about why they're going with him. Basically, big guy, has 4 goals. Sure. And then that's sort of it for the morning. That's morning skate. It's pretty simple and it's not that crazy. I'll do a video later when my article goes out, I think.
Sweet.
To sort of tell the whole story as well. But yeah, I then had 7 hours to kill. Because it was.
Wait, did you go home?
No, I just hung out there. I got a haircut. The 3 of us, Faber took us all out for coffee after.
Oh, that's good.
Which was nice. And then we just sort of killed time. And then back at the rink, 5:45. We have dinner with sort of the everyone in the media and the sort of PR team. And we're sitting in the press box, and then warm-up start. Brock Boeser's on the ice. Dakota Josh was not on the ice.
Right. So before we get to that, should we now interject what Elliot Friedman's report? Because that's about
right, and that happened right before warm-up.
Okay.
And so there's again commotion, right? Because we're all having, no one's on their phones while this drops because we're all having dinner and socializing and meeting everybody. And then as we go into the press box at the start of warm-ups, everyone sort of opens their laptops and sees the same thing. And we're all kind of like, you see this? Like what's going on? And so that was a thing. And then Besser's on the ice, and Josh
Right.
was not. And then I think it was Batchelor who like actually said like Joshua was out with a minor injury or something along those lines. Yeah, it was, there's a lot of commotion, but it was very interesting.
Right. And somehow, if you don't know what we're talking about, Elliot Friedman went on the first intermission, Hockey Night in Canada, so about 5 o'clock, basically said that the Canucks have given permission to Brock Boeser's agent to explore potential deals with other teams. And usually when you hear a team giving permission to an agent to explore, that means they've tried already to perhaps find a deal and they haven't done so. And we heard that most recently with Michael DiPietro. They gave DiPietro's camp a chance to explore with other teams, and sure enough, he was traded a few months later. So, it's obviously led to a lot of speculation as to whether or not the Canucks have tried to move Boeser prior to Elliot Friedman's report.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then, I mean, at that point in the day, us Botchford Project people, we're off the clock, right? Like we did all of our article prep in the morning, right? When we had done our interviews, we're basically just there to watch the game, socialize, meet everybody, have some snacks.
Yep.
That's basically it.
Did they give you any rules, Parker, about you're allowed to tweet, you can't tweet, you can do this, you can't do that? Nothing.
Nope.
Wow.
We were basically independent media for the day, so we could have done whatever. We could ask questions. We had free reign essentially.
Wow.
That was very well done. Like the Canucks PR team, they are all excellent. All very good people, very, very nice people. All the media was great. Everyone was great. Sort of the moral of the story.
So I got a couple, and I'll make sure that they're relevant. That I'll ask questions I think people hopefully would also be interested in. Otherwise, I'll keep everyone here forever. Two things. Did you? When did the first person start to make the connection that Brock might have been scratched on Hockey Fights Cancer Night?
Right. So that part of it, I don't think people were really. So not in morning skate.
Yeah.
In morning skate, that didn't cross anyone's mind. It was like, yep, that makes sense, and we kind of saw it coming, right? At some point.
Yeah.
Not super surprising. It was honestly, and then even the Bruce availability, no one really brought it up. No one was saying, like, it was again like a hockey decision at that point, and that's sort of how everyone pictured it.
Yep.
I think it was during the day there was a lot of commotion about it. And then especially after he was back in the lineup, people were like, "Oh, well, is he back in the lineup because of it, or what's the deal there?" But I don't think anyone was really making the connection while we were there.
Right. And then, did you get to go to the dressing rooms after the game too, or were you done by then? You did.
Yeah. So we were back in the locker room after the game for the Boeser, Schenn, and Miller hits.
Yeah, but Boeser's they didn't put online.
They didn't put that one online?
No, that's the crazy thing. So all these reporters, Parker, were talking about Boeser saying how hurt he was when he didn't see his name on the whiteboard and all that stuff, but the Canucks never posted it.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I could be corrected. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that they never posted it.
I want to be sure, but I can probably find it pretty fast.
Yeah.
Going back to December 3rd.
Yeah, Saturday night.
December 3rd. There's Schenn. Oh, they only put the Schenn one up, hey?
Yeah.
They didn't put the Miller or Boeser one up.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. The Boeser one was tough to watch. Like, to be there in person, he was very reserved, very quiet, and barely talking, and very like clearly upset after the game. Like, all of his responses were like quiet, and he was like deadpan, like on the verge seemingly of tears potentially. It was genuinely, and I was going to tweet while I was there, but I don't want to, be posting this in the middle of it. Because I thought it would end up posted online, but I can see why they didn't choose to post it after a win, because it didn't look great. It was genuinely tough to watch. But yeah, I mean, all the quotes came out, right? Like the people there were tweeting them out, but the tone was so like he was just sort of talking like this, and and that was sort of it.
See this hopefully for you, everyone watching this show, this whole show is entertaining, but this part right here, Parker, this is gold. This is the cool, among the many cool experiences that you had, because you got to see something that didn't get out to the public. That I you know me, I'm a nerd for these kind of things, so I really appreciate you sharing that, because we'd seen these quotes and the reporters were talking about Boeser, but to know that you were there experiencing it, that's pretty powerful stuff, man.
Yeah, it was very interesting. And then
Wow.
basically the way it works, so all the guys had already been in there, they had done the belt and everything, right? Because basically the game ends and we had stuck around up there for about 30 seconds, and then Drance bailed on us. He forgot to bring us with him. So we had someone else bring us down. I think Carl, who's one of the interns there, brought us down. And yeah, it was so that we get into the locker room. Everyone's sort of already cleared out. Like there's a couple people sort of hanging around. And then basically the guys who have the media, because their numbers are just on the whiteboard. Yeah. And it was 6, 9, and 2. And so Boeser finishes his hit. And then they're not like, all right, next up it's basically whoever gets there first. And then so Miller and Shen are sort of both there, like in separate conversations, and Shen just sort of beats him to it. And JT Mo's like, no, I only have 1,200 hits. It's fine. And then like just in clearly a joking manner.
That's good.
So then Shen comes in. Shen's a talker. He talks nonstop, which was great. Yeah. A fun little tidbit. Noah, who was interviewing Luke Shen for his piece, we were standing there. Ali and I were standing there with Drance, and he was like, he's never going to get out of this interview. Like Shen is just going to keep talking. And he said, he's like, I think I only asked him like 4 or 5 questions, and it was like an 8-minute chat. But yeah, so Shen does his piece. It was great. And that's the one that did get posted. Yes. And then Miller did his after, and it was good as well.
Parker, you know what's, and that's so, I find this kind of stuff fascinating, because I don't know if you saw what they posted. You see Shen talking, and then about the last minute, you see all the reporters start to leave, and then only 2, Gemma Carson-Smith and one other woman, were still with Shen. Even they took the ring light or the light away, because I guess Miller, and you can speak to this, I guess Miller was waiting for Shen to be done, and then I guess they're getting ready for Miller. But it was weird, because all you saw was all these reporters leaving Shen at the end of his hit.
Yeah, it's weird, because I remembered them doing that too. But it's not like the Miller interview was in a different place, right? Like it's in the same spot in the locker room. So after Shen was done, then they did Miller. But I guess the people filming for the Canucks just stopped filming at that point. Yeah, because they have these 2 huge cameras, and like someone holding the big microphone and everything. But yeah, no, I don't know why they did that, but I noticed that while I was there too, that they sort of killed the lights, and wow. It was bizarre.
So were you there when Boudreau said he did not know that it was Hockey Fights Cancer Night?
Yeah.
Do you believe him?
I did. I do. I believe that he didn't know that when the decision was made. However, if you look at that Shen interview and you look behind him, you see that all the logos are like, the whole screen is pink, and has the Hockey Fights Cancer logo on it. Right. That was on that TV all day. From the moment we got there in the morning. And the one behind Boudreau is it's a different room, but also a big TV that has the same logos on it. So I imagine that he put the numbers on the whiteboard in there in the morning, and either they hadn't turned that TV on yet,
right,
or whatever the case might be. But he definitely did know it by the time morning skate ended, I will say.
Right.
But at that point, I mean, it's a bit too late. So
you can't go back on it. Right.
But yeah, it is weird that he wouldn't have been told about it. And, especially when you look at, I bet the PR team knew about it, and they probably saw that Brock Boeser wasn't in the lineup before morning skate. So it's I imagine he didn't know, and I don't think he's going to change his mind in the middle of or after morning skate at that point.
What's Drance like?
Kind of done.
What's Drance like?
Drance is great.
Yeah,
it's great. Fun to be around. He's always he's good.
Did he know that you do your YouTube channel Canucks After Dark, or did you have to tell him?
I had to tell him everything.
Okay.
He had no input in the application process.
Oh,
So
okay.
it was all my call with him last week that I had to tell him who I am, basically.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Any other media that you can share? Any one you were surprised by or that you got a chance to meet that day? That was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, everyone was great. I mean, the main people
Yeah.
we met with in the morning were Murph
Hmm.
and Scott Oak
Yeah.
and oh my goodness, I'm just blanking now. Faber was there, obviously.
Yeah.
Like everyone was there in the morning,
iMac.
basically. I didn't talk to IMAC. He wasn't. I didn't see him actually,
Oh,
which was odd. Maybe he was somewhere else or farther behind us.
right. Right.
But yeah, no. Farhan we met there as well, and then Bachelor and
Yeah.
everyone there.
What a great experience. So I got two more questions. What's it like watching from the press box?
It's high up.
Yeah, we can
It's
see
a
it.
very weird perspective because it's basically top down at when you get to that high up, right? You're not looking at an angle. You have to sort of lean over at all times. So you're kind of sitting like this. Terrible for your back. I don't know how they do it, 8 or 41 times a year. Um, but you're basically looking over and everything is just top down. So you can see numbers great. Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
But like pucks would bounce and you wouldn't be able to tell where they're going because the perspective is so weird, right? It would go one angle and you'd be like, I thought that was going in and it was going straight to the corner.
Yes.
So the press box is it's very high up and pretty tough.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you want to. It's up to you if you want to field questions from people. I got one more about this experience. Does it make you more or less any more want to do that, or do you like kind of what you're doing, vlogging? Basically.
Yeah, that was honestly my big question going in.
Yeah.
And CMAC actually asked us sort of that point blank. He was like, what's your goal out of this? And Noah had sort of said something similar. He was like, look, it's kind of a test run, right? Like you don't have to take a job. You don't have to uproot anything. You basically get to try it for a day. Yeah, it was a very fun experience. And it did kind of solidify that where I was like, this is something that I'd want to do. That would
Wow.
be fun to be in that environment every day and whatever department that is, right? If that's on the media side, if that's on the, communication side on the team,
Yeah.
right? Like all of them were fun to work with. But yeah, no, I just like being around the rink, right? And it's
Yeah.
cool to sort of see how, peek behind the curtain and see
Yes.
how all this stuff comes out and pick up on things maybe before other people do, right? Like in that morning skate, like, trying to pick out, who's playing with who and what that might mean. And everyone sort of talking to each other and trying to sort things out. It was very, very cool experience.
Oh, well, I'm sure I'm echoing the 100 people in here, or at least most of them, that would say yeah, we were living vicariously through you, and we can't wait to read your article when it comes out. But that is such a cool, such a great experience. No, we're
Yeah, it was a
thrilled that
blast.
thrilled that you had it. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, and the Canucks won, which was nice.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about the game yet.
Yeah, we were worried. The Canucks did
Yeah.
score 5 goals. Only 3 counted, unfortunately.
That's right.
Yeah, so 1-1 after the first. You get a Horvat power play goal, his 18th of the year. Not surprising. I struggle to even remember what the goals looked like because from so high up, everything's sort of thrown off for me.
Yeah. I can't remember if it was a tip or whatever. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember. I do remember.
Oh, I do remember. It was like a slap. Pettersson did that slap pass from the
Right,
sideboards,
and
and
then
Horvat
right.
tipped it in.
Yeah. Now, earlier that morning, Allie, one of the Botchford Project recipients alongside Noah and I, had said that she had heard of a Botchford Project bump, that the players that get interviewed prior to a game by the Botchford Project people tend to play very well. So Bo Horvat scores in the first period. And we're all talking. We're like, maybe Luke Shen breaks the hits record for most hits all time by a defenseman. He had a good game as well.
Yeah.
And Niels Oman scored, but it didn't count.
And you say that because Noah interviewed Shen.
Yeah. Allie interviewed Horvat.
Oh, okay.
and I interviewed Niels Oman.
Okay, I think that's the first time you said that publicly. Cool,
Yeah.
cool, cool.
So all yeah, all three of them basically had their ideal night. Just Oman's didn't count when it should have. It should have, because the rule says an imminent scoring opportunity,
Yes.
and it cannot be an imminent score. You cannot not have an imminent scoring opportunity and then imminently score, right? That's like the definition of
Yeah.
imminent, because he
The
was
ref
about to
said well
score.
prior. The net was knocked off
He did
well
say
prior.
well prior, and it was not well prior. The puck was on Oman's stick, and he was just about to start his toe drag to put it into the non-existent net.
Right.
Yeah, that was one where we were all talking about it, and we're like, this one we don't get. And like, I got the rule book up. Because I want to post the quote from the rule book, the snippet. I had it imminent, put it on there, and then they disallowed it, which sucked.
Yeah.
But we get a Brock Boeser goal in the third.
That was nice.
With like 8 minutes to go to tie it. Everything's kind of scary until then. What was the other disallowed goal?
Oh, it was Hoglander, because Miller hooked a guy, and the puck squirted out to Hoglander. Hoglander did a nice wrist shot.
It was a great shot too.
Yeah.
And I saw it immediately too. It's one of those ones where I always pick that up before the crowd does, and I saw the hook.
Yeah.
My eyes went straight to the ref. Arm went up right to Hoglander as he shot. And I'm like, oh no.
So you didn't even bother cheering? Well,
no. Well, we weren't really cheering anyways. Though we kind of were. Because the people sitting with us from the communications team, they're having a good time, right? They get excited when the team does well, because it makes their job way easier. To do comms after wins. So they're getting fired up, and then I just immediately I saw it, and I'm like, oh no. And the crowd goes wild, and then there's the whole frustrating part.
Yes.
But yeah, no, that was a couple of disallowed goals that, the refs were public enemy number one, especially if the Canucks did not pull this win out.
Yeah, that Boeser goal was nice, because I just a few minutes prior to that, he had a really good chance, and he just shot it right in the middle of the goaltender's stomach.
Yeah.
But this one, Petey basically dekes through 4 of the 5 Coyotes. Actually, probably loses the puck, but Boeser's in the right spot on Petey's left, and then puts it right past the goalie, whose name I can't say. Yeah, so that was good.
Yeah, and this is one of the questions that got asked of Boeser, and I'm not sure how well that got translated on Twitter, but I think it was Batchelor that asked him, how does it feel to have scored a Brock Boeser goal? And Boeser was just like, yeah, it feels good. And that was kind of it. And again, like, it hurt me. It made me sad. But yeah.
Do you like Boeser before Saturday? Where would Boeser rank in your favorite players, or how much you like him? And do you have
he's
more?
Not really he's not really my favorite players. I always had a soft spot for him.
Okay.
Because he was sort of the very beginning of the rebuild, right? Like 2015 draft or something like that, or what was it?
Yeah, 2015.
2015, so long ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've always had a soft spot for Boeser. It's hard not to. Whether his play is struggling like it has been, you want him to succeed at every opportunity. And it was good to see him get one. Then he almost had just and we were talking about, again, in the media room, waiting for Boudreaux for his availability. We were all just like, oh, like what? Like, even Drance was like, oh, it would have been too perfect. Like, it would have just been so perfect if Boeser went and finished it in OT. Unfortunately, he didn't.
Was it a breakaway? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was a partial breakaway. He was on he had space. He didn't score. And then Horvat, a tip, 19th of the season.
Yes.
It's a 3-2 win.
Yeah, Boeser, by the way, and we saw it again in the Montreal game, doesn't really have that separation speed, does he?
No, and that's not his game, right? His game is being in the right spot and letting a shot go. And it's just great. Like, Horvat, 19 goals, great tip. Hughes shot. Yep. Horvat tips it to the far post. A nice little finisher, and a 3-2 win on the power play. Because the Coyotes took the funniest too many men penalty in overtime, where the guy just jumped off the bench and grabbed somebody.
Clayton Keller. So the Coyotes, Parker, they took 4 bonehead penalties, 2 over the glass and 2 too many men. So 4 of their 8 penalties were
ones that you can't even be mad at the refs, right? Like, they were all clear as day. Penalties they had 8. Canucks had 8 power plays.
Yeah, 4 of them were dumb ones.
Yeah, you just
Hey,
you
what's the
can't
crowd
be
like?
doing that.
What's the crowd like from your perspective?
Crowd was good. Crowd was getting
Okay.
into it.
Yeah.
I think the loudest moment of the night was not during the game. It was during Canucks Idol. They had two guys singing some songs, and one guy was unreal, and the place went crazy.
Yeah, my son Sean sent me the video. Was it the bald
Really?
guy with glasses?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it was
yeah,
very
he's good.
good. And so yeah, everyone was loving that. And then yeah, at the last goal, of course, it was going crazy in there as well. Actually, it
Wow.
was very loud booing after the Oman goal was disallowed as well.
Yes, yes, yes. So, what time are you out of there then?
So the game didn't end until probably like 9:45, I would
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Go down to the locker room, go down to the media availability. Probably, I think I'm out of there at about 10:45. I think I
Oh,
was, I think I was on the train at about 11, to come home, and then yeah, that was basically it.
so about a 13-hour day for you, right? By the time you leave, yeah, even earlier.
Yeah,
You probably left at 8 or 8:30. Yeah.
yeah, 8:30, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, it was fun.
Awesome. I know it
Yeah.
was only Saturday. Is there anything that now knowing how they run it and the opportunities you had, is there anything that you would have done differently? Either been more forward this way, sought out this, been more assertive this way, or it was a pretty much you did what you could do kind of thing.
Yeah, I did come prepared to like the Boudreaux availabilities, both of them with one question,
Mm.
both of which were like got asked already.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't want to like I want to wait for a gap and for a clear chance if I
Yes.
did want to ask one, but they were asked and I was like, all right, those were the only things that I really
Okay.
wanted I could think of. Um, yeah, I think realizing the opportunity that you have to just ask as many questions, right? Like if
Mhm.
anyone is interested in doing it and you end up doing it, yeah, just come with a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
Because you're you know try to get yourself out there, and it was yeah, it was a very fun experience.
As long as your questions, Parker, did not start with how important is it that, because the answer is always very important. Always.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Um, and that's Saturday, and then
Awesome.
yesterday happened,
Oh,
which you had the privilege of going to, and I was thinking about it all day. I do the thing where I'm like, well, I've been to the last two games, and I had a blast.
yeah.
And then, oh well, what if I go to this one? I'm looking at tickets, and it's hard to get a single ticket.
Right.
But I was looking at it, and I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. Didn't end up going, and I was feeling real good about myself after the first period. I was like, oh, I saved like $70 on a ticket. I probably would have got triple O's while I was there.
Yeah.
I'd had
Yep.
beer.
100
I
buck
would have been
night. Yep.
$100, $120 into this one.
Yep.
I wish I had spent $120 to go
Yep.
last night.
I was blessed to go with Justin, who's in the chat. Thank you, Justin. Justin brought me as his guest, and we were feeling the same way after the first period for sure. We didn't even go for a walk. We just stared at each other for 18 minutes, and then the walk after during the second mission was a little more fun because then at least we scored 2 goals. But yeah, that's and it's crazy, Parker. We actually dominated the first 8 minutes. I think we were out shooting them 9-1 or 9-2, and then it went crazy.
And they didn't have another shot for the rest of the period, and they allowed 4 goals.
Yes.
Yeah, you get Caulfield scoring, and then yeah, you basically have just an onslaught, right? 4 or 3 goals in about 3.5, 4 minutes.
Right.
Suzuki, Monahan, and Michael Pezzetta, who
Yes.
I'm sure you had heard of coming into this game.
I think I ate something like that for dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has played 63 career games, and he has
What?
6 goals. Yeah, I think he played for them. He played for them 51 games last year. He was a staple in their lineup. Well, hey, more than half the year.
No,
So
for sure.
It's 4-0 after one,
Yeah.
and I will
That
be
second-
completely.
Oh.
I will be completely honest with you.
Yep.
I did not turn the game off.
Good.
I watched the intermission,
Good for you, Parker.
and then I don't know. I had a weird feeling in this one. I'll be honest. I was like, look, it's Montreal. If there's like, I don't think they come back, but I think they score 1 or 2, and it's at least like there's a little bit of nerves near the end of the game.
Yeah.
Second period, I mean, Canucks are the better team, but they don't score until there's 3:15 left, right? And it's Connor Garland, a nice goal that he almost messed up looking back at the tape, because he makes a nice move, and his like Garland's edge work is really good, and I was really surprised that he didn't like open his hips up here.
Yes.
Because he sort of skates it and is like both his feet are pointing at the corner boards, And I don't know if you've ever been he's basically skating away from the net at this point. It's hard to shoot and get any height on it. You'll see he only got it about this high in the net, right? Because he's basically doing one of these, and that's a tough shot, right? When you'd like to see a guy open his hips up, basically be skating backwards at that point, and then you can take an easy shot.
Right.
But he did score. He burned Montembeau to make it 4-1, and then you get Mikheyev's first of the night, and this is Pettersson just being a bit cheeky.
Yeah.
Because he's just standing behind the net. And just standing behind the net.
Yep.
And he keeps standing behind the net. Then he throws it in front. Mikheyev whacks at it. It takes like a weird bounce, goes over the shoulder. And it's 4-2 at the end of the second period.
Yeah, and that second goal, Parker, it was right in front of us, Justin and me. And it was almost a Sedin-like shift where Pettersson, Mikheyev, and Boeser dominated. They held the puck for about 45 seconds to a minute, whatever it is. And yeah, 2 or 3 different times, PD almost Gretzky-like set up shop behind the net. And he's obviously the one guy you want there. He's calm, he's poised, he's smart, he's patient. And well, what a beautiful pass through skates, sticks to Mikheyev. And 4-1's exactly what you said earlier. 4-1's one thing. Yeah, maybe you have a slight glimmer of hope, but 4-2, you just scored 2, then you just got to do the same thing in the third period.
Yeah, and you just did it in 2 minutes. You get 20, right?
Yes.
And the Canucks come out in the third, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling okay. And then you get your Bo Horvat 20th goal of the season in 26 games. He's on pace for 63 goals right now.
That's crazy.
Which, I jokingly tweeted, I think over a month ago.
Yep.
I said, I think Bo Horvat's going to score 60, isn't he? I bet low. He's on pace for 63.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's Stillman's first assist of the night. He had 2. So it's 4-3.
Yeah.
And then 2 minutes later, you have literally it's like the same spacing as the first goals. Like I think the first ones were 136 apart, maybe. I don't know. The math is way too hard. 144 apart.
Yeah.
Sure, We'll go with that. And then the second ones were 143 apart.
Oh, very impressive.
Horvat, and then that Mikheyev goal where Pettersson, I'm looking at him sort of coming in towards the net, and I'm thinking he's going to try the shot over the shoulder, like right here on the goalie, which is impossible to say if you place it right. You kind of bank it off the goalie's mask and in because there's going to be a gap there.
Yes.
And I thought he either does that and he has like a 15% chance of scoring, or he tries to pass it across and it will not get through.
Right.
It got through and it went perfectly through the defender's legs. Lots of props to Mikheyev here. That is a hard puck to shoot.
Yes.
Because he doesn't see it coming till it's between the defender's legs, right? He can't see that pass coming because the defender in the way. So a fantastic pass through, a great finish by Mikheyev. And the Canucks have tied this game up, and there's still 14 minutes to go.
Yeah. So before we get to the Stanika goal, I got to tell you something funny, Parker. So if we were down 4-2, and if you wanted the Canucks to win, doing math, if you said we need blank number of goals, what would you say if we were down 4-2?
Well, you need at least 2, Clay.
Right.
As a mathematician.
Okay.
And then I would say to win, you need 3.
Right. And do you want the Canucks to win? Like, forget about Bedard and draft. Just as a fan, you want the Canucks to win or tie?
Yeah, I want the Canucks to. I don't want them to come back and make it 4-4 and then lose, because you have now made me interested. You've given me that little glimmer of like, oh, what a sweet comeback this is.
Beautiful. That's you're proving. So Crazy P comes up to our section, and it's me and Justin. And Justin can just affirm this. And then there's 2 guys beside us, really nice guys. And then Crazy P, remember it's 4-2. This is at the start of the third. And so Crazy P says, "Let's go Canucks, let's go. Come on, Canucks fans. We just need," I'm just laughing. "We just need 2 more. 2 more." So then me and the other guys and the guys beside me are like, "Does he think that we have 2 more periods? But it's only 1 more period?" No. And I said to them, "No, I think he's saying we need 2 goals And then the guy goes, but that's just a tie. And I said, yes, it doesn't make sense. I would have said, let's get 3, but maybe he's taking baby steps. It was just kind of funny. So then when after McCabe scored his second goal, we're like, yes, we fulfilled Crazy P's dream, his promise. And now let's go out and get the next one. It was just so funny how he's trying to, rile everyone up, get everyone cheering. And he's basically telling us to get to a tie. And I get it. You have to obviously tie it first before you can go ahead.
If the Canucks are down by 1 and there's 5 minutes to go, you're thinking we just need 1, right?
That's true.
We just need 2, I think he's right. I give Crazy P a lot of flack.
Yeah.
I will stand with Crazy P.
Okay, that's fair. Justin says that was a hilarious, crazy. It was just maybe I just aim higher. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Is I would have, if I was Crazy C, right up there banging my drum, I would say 3 more. Let's go. We need 3 to win. Not let's get 2. But that's just me. That's just me.
I
Thank
agree. But yeah, so then we get a misplay from Montembeault just 3 minutes later, goes behind the net, and this is just effort from Jack Studnicka. Just gets to the boards, throws his body against the boards, puck doesn't get by him. Montembeault takes the wrong way back into the net, and just sort of like desperation tries to slide Studnicka instead of going for the wraparound, where if he goes for that wraparound, he gets his head taken off, right, by a defender. That's just the way it works. But he goes and he just sort of fakes the wraparound, takes it outside, rips it under the bar, like makes no mistake, makes sure it goes in. I think Tyler Myers had no idea that went in. I don't know if you saw on the, he's after Studnicka takes the shot, and as they turn away to start to celebrate, Myers is head down skating for the puck on the other side of the ice, and then realizes that all the red stanchions are on, and then turns and goes and joins the team.
That's the other funny thing about that goal, Parker, is you're right. He didn't rush the wraparound. He actually patiently knocked the puck down and waited. And it was funny because Montembeault actually got in the net, but actually went past him. He slid past him. Yeah,
he outweighted it. Well, that's all Montembeault can do, right? Because you're assuming the guy's going to try to rush to that post.
Yes.
And you're thinking, well, I just got to get there and make the save and hope my defenders can clear it.
Yeah.
But no, it was a great shot, great finish. It would be tough to save if the goalie was in the net, to be honest. But so it's 5-4.
Yep.
Canucks have their first lead of the night. Big comeback. They get a little pacey, and then we get the Wes McCauley treatment.
Oh yeah.
We get a puck that is cleared out of the Canucks zone off of the arm of a Montreal defender.
Yes.
That goes off of his arm and into the Canucks bench.
Right.
Now, what happens when the Canucks clear it and it goes off the arm? I guess the rule is the puck is dropped at the nearest face-off location, right? Or whatever the rule is.
Right.
Now, how I thought it was, and how this is in minor hockey and beer league hockey, whoever it goes off of is the most important part. So even if it's chipped off of a Habs guy in the Canucks zone and then goes out, well, it was off the Habs guy. It's outside. Mm-hmm. But I guess that's not the ruling here, because they were looking to see where it hit instead of on the blue line or over the blue line. What was interesting to me is the linesman said outside, and the two linesmen were talking, and then McCauley went over and said, no, it's inside, overruled. And they brought it inside, and the Habs score immediately. Camera cuts perfectly right to Boudreau, saying you effed up, right at the ref, pointing hard, just bright red. And I was like, yeah, tell him, Bruce.
I think he was even saying that, not that you effed up part, but he was mad even obviously before they dropped the puck, because he knew he didn't know they were going to score, but he knew that in his eyes that wasn't the right location.
Yeah, and I don't think it was. And again, I don't know the exact rule, because I thought it was it was off Montreal, it should be outside, because that just seems logical to me. But I guess I'm ill-informed in that case.
So then, and after Studnicka scored, I'm so stupid. I said to Justin, oh, look, Delia's going to get his first win. And he's like, Clay, quiet. And sure enough, I think as he was saying that, Dvorak scored.
Yeah. So Dvorak scores basically off the draw to make it 5-5. And now I'm like, okay, well, at least let's just get to overtime. Let's get to overtime to get the point. Let's be fine here. And the Habs score again, and it's Josh Anderson. Well, it's kind of Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, channeling FIFA, an own goal.
Yeah, the old OG.
Yeah.
Weird rebound. Hughes goes to stop. It hits his skate, flutters up over the shoulder. Just so unlucky. Like not Quinn Hughes' fault. Just an absolute fluke.
Yeah.
It goes up, it goes in, and the Canucks are down. And I'm thinking, they got to still pull it back. Like my mind immediately went to that Colorado game from like 4 years ago at this point.
Also 7-6er, right?
Also 7-6, and that's why, because I was like they got tied up late. Canucks won in overtime. They can score a goal here, and then a bad penalty taken by the Habs with a couple minutes to go. So the Canucks go to the power play. Good little 6-on-4. Face-off gets one back, and it is a Hughes at the top of the blue line over to Miller. Miller skates downhill instead of shooting it, fires it at Kuzmenko's stick. They show the slow motion replay. That is so close to just going right under Kuzmenko's stick. I don't know if you saw it, but it hits the slow mo, like at normal speed. Normal speed's like, oh, it goes in and off the stick, and at slow motion, it's like kind of picks the stick up and like flutters, rolls down his stick and goes in. Very, very just, not. It was barely in, but a great tip by Kuzmenko. He's got 12 now.
Wow.
Which is pretty sick, and we're tied at 6.
By the way, the chat, there's 125 of you in here. I see a lot of good discussion there. I see a lot of silly discussion too. Just a reminder that as we all share fandom and we want to create a safe space, let's keep it a safe space. Let's keep it a positive space.
Let's have some fun.
Yeah, debate, discuss, have fun, but do not question someone's fandom. Do not question someone's mental ability. Let's just leave it at that.
It's 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, folks. None of us here are very sane. Okay,
yes, exactly.
We are all Canucks fans, and we are suffering.
Exactly. Okay. So one thing I was going to say, I came in. I watched the whole third period when I got home, Parker, because me and Sean, we were so hyped. And then, did you hear that Shorty and Garrett? It wasn't even a debate. They had a quick discussion about. Remember, they pulled their goalie first, and then Miller drew the penalty. So now it goes from 6-on-5 to 6-on-4. And then Shorty wanted them to put Delia back in the net just in case they lost the faceoff. Where Garrett's like, no, you're already in the zone. So I was fine with them not putting. I didn't even think to put Delia in. Do you agree with Garrett or Shorty there?
My instinct before they mentioned it was that he should be back in the net.
Wow,
and
interesting.
Hindsight. Look, it worked, right?
Yeah.
However, if I am on the Habs at this point, if I am the defender who is lined up behind the centerman, I am lining up. I'm shifting a little bit because normally you'd want to be like right behind the centerman, like slightly off to the side. But you have to figure, the linesman's there, right? And he drops the puck. That blocks a lot of room. So if I'm that defenseman, I'm lining up either a little bit more left and telling my centerman to try to pull it hard back a little bit left, or I'm lining it more on the right and telling him to pull it back more to the right. So I have a line. If I'm that defenseman, I am thinking if my centerman wins the draw, I'm an NHL player. I can hit the empty net from here, maybe 60% of the time, right? Win me that draw, and I'm firing it. Right. So I think, you can have him out at the blue line.
Yeah, even the red line.
But like out basically in line with the face-off circle, which they had picked the one away from the benches for the face-off. But I'm thinking he can literally have his be like this, and then the second that puck gets pulled back, go to the bench and get a guy out there. And you're only losing 6 seconds maybe of 6-on-4. Which, they had 2 minutes. They have the Canucks power play is good enough that at 5-on-4, it's going to convert 26% of the time, 1 and 4, and pulling the goalie gives you extra. But I don't think that extra 6 seconds in theory, you run that back 100 times. I don't think it makes a huge difference.
Sure.
So I was more of the mind of, pull him out or pull him out to the blue line and then rush him in. Or if you're confident enough in Bo Horvat to take the face-off, which I imagine they are, and you tell your left winger, hey, the second this puck gets dropped, I don't care what happens, you are rushing that defenseman in case it does go back to him and impeding him. That's also fine, but you have to have faith that they're going to execute that.
Right, and I think Yeah, the same way that Boudreaux has faith that Horvat is his best centerman and he's going to win the draw. So yeah, I definitely have time for both arguments. I just thought it was interesting that they had a quick exchange and then the play started and they scored right away. So yeah. Yep.
Then we got OT.
Yep. Yes,
Game's tied.
A long OT.
A very long overtime indeed. So Montreal wins the faceoff. Overtime is a possession game, and it goes back to Mike Matheson. Noted that. Now, here's the thing. Let's start here.
Yeah.
If Mike Matheson is your starting overtime defenseman, you might have some issues.
Yeah.
But it was one back to Mike Matheson, and he skates backwards, and he catches an edge. That's all that happened. Like literally, like as he and I mean, I saw it in real time. Like I immediately saw like I heard like Shorty and Cheech like, oh, like they did like oh, they might get a call here. Right. And I immediately I'm like they better not call that because he was going down regardless. Because that stick, PD gives him a quick little like tap here, like sort of in the rib, and as Matheson's feet are going out behind him, like it was super obvious that he just caught an edge. Rogers Arena doesn't have great ice. He catches
PD helped him. PD helped him.
PD picks it up and then takes it to the net and tucks it 5-hole, and that's ball game.
And you see Matheson, he was basically waving at Suzuki to
he said,
hurry.
Go,
because
go
he
there,
wanted to cut
I'm
off.
not going to get there in time.
Exactly, and cut off the middle and maybe a second forward coming in, streaking in. Horvat, I guess it would have been. But both Suzuki's too far behind. PD showing the same poise, patience, calm as he did in the two setups to Mikheyev. Yeah, just kind of, and it doesn't even go. It's kind of weird. He kind of slowly just kind of lulls Montembeault and draws him, and then puts it in his legs through his legs before he gets to the other side of the net. It was a beautiful goal. It was amazing.
Yeah, nice goal. Yeah, you make the goalie think you're going to try to go far post, try to beat him to far post. The goalie doesn't have a choice. He has to open the 5-hole to get across. Yeah. Now, ideally, for the goalie, you have your paddle down on the ice when you do that, but it's a pretty bang play. And if you're, instinctually you're thinking, oh, he's going over there, I got to get over there. Yeah. Hopefully my defender lifts his stick, even though Mike Matheson is off in no man's land trying to cover the pass. Which I think if he didn't do, I bet Patterson goes back door and they probably score anyways.
Yeah, that's fair.
If Matheson did rush him. So
that's fair.
I don't think Matheson made the wrong move there other than falling. And you see, he didn't go right to the ref to complain. He knew that he caught an edge. It was, it was a great goal, a great finish, a 7-6 hockey game. Canucks get back in the win column, and they're back to 2 games below 500.
Wow.
1 game below 500.
1 game, yeah, because they started the homestand in 1 game, and then before we get to predictions and there's one other thing we forgot to talk about is Schen's hit on Slavkovsky.
Banger hit. Yeah, it looked pretty bad at first, right? Yeah. Like in real time, it's like, oh, that's a big hit. They put it on a slow-mo. That is a shoulder right to the chest. Maybe like a little high in the chest, but chest is definitely primary. Yeah. Just a great hit on Slavkovsky. He was admiring his pass, right? Yeah. That's a rookie mistake. And then of course Schenn chooses to fight. He wasn't really jumped or forced to fight. He said, "Yep, I'll do it." And I guess Shekaj kind of fell and fed him a couple, and that was that.
Yeah, it was a good one. Wow. So we predicted. I think we were a little giddy, didn't we? Predict 4-0 and 3-1.
I think 3-1.
Okay, yeah, we both said 3-1. That's right.
We were close. Yeah, other than those 2 blowouts.
Within a game. So you said we only have 2 games this week before our next show.
Yeah. So the Canucks play tomorrow night. Another 7:30 start in San Jose. So that's typical. They always start at 7:30 there. Yeah. And then they play Saturday Hockey Night in Canada at 7 back at home against the Minnesota Wild.
And King RJ asking, is stream longer than an hour? Yeah, we said near the start that I got here late. Thank you, Parker, for waiting for me from bowling. That's why I'm wearing this pretty sweet shirt. And then I'm not doing my own show tonight, so we didn't have to rush off at the 55-minute or 1 hour mark. So whenever this ends, it'll end. But yes, we're going a little bit later.
We'll wrap up fairly soon. Yeah, we'll do a couple of quick things.
This is way past Parker's bedtime now.
Yeah, yes, it definitely is. So Canucks Sharks. I imagine Canucks are a favorite. in that one.
I hope so.
And where are the Wild right now? How are they doing? The Wild are
Just
third in the
above us,
Central. They're 13-9-2.
What?
They have won their last 4 actually, so they were a 500 team. But they
Uh-oh.
have gotten hot. They just beat the Stars, the Ducks, the Oilers, and the Coyotes. So not the fine teams, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
And now they have the Canucks on Saturday. So how do you think those 2 games go? Sharks on the road, Wild at home.
We got to beat San Jose. We beat them 3-2 a week and a half ago.
4-3.
And 4-3. Thank you. That's a team that you should beat. So I would say they beat. And, Saturday night, Hockey Night Canada. So if they beat San Jose, they're actually coming home 500.
Yeah.
They have a
So the
chance
Canucks will have had, keep in mind, a break, right? They won't have played
Yeah.
since Wednesday. So that is Thursday and Friday off.
Yeah.
The Wild will be on the second night of a back-to-back, 3 games in 4. They play the Wild. They play the Flames tomorrow, and they play the Oilers on Friday, and the Canucks on Saturday. So they will be on a back-to-back. Likely their backup goalie. Not even sure who that is. They've got Fleury and someone else.
Yeah, so you're the best man. I know you're getting tired because you said the Wild are going to play themselves twice.
I know. I kept saying this. I tried very hard to not say that.
So I will say, while you look up the backup goalie, I do. Oh gosh, I would like the Canucks to win both games, obviously. I think they can. But that Minnesota one could go either way. But they should be able to beat San Jose tomorrow. And quickly, it's Martin for sure, 100%, right? You're not going Colin Delia to start, are you?
Martin's playing both.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no reason not to. There's a nice little break.
Yeah.
Afterwards, and he had a bad period.
Yeah.
It happens. He's been very good for this team. He's been pretty hot earlier in the month, in November. So yeah, you're gonna ride Spencer Martin, and then I'm going a nice little 2-0. Why not?
Yes, I'm with you.
Perfect.
2-0.
Sold. 2-0. Easy. All right, it's 11:22. Do you have any last topics? Any comments that stood out to you? Anywhere you want to go here before we wrap up?
I'd highlight some comments, but I'm afraid I'm going to click on the wrong one, and then everyone can get mad at each other. So, what I will say this is it was actually going to be the topic of my show that I was going to do tonight that I'm not going to do, but and we don't have to go to each one. But Parker, between the Rachel Dory, the Roberto Luongo, and the Brock Boeser, at least the Boudreau future Horvat contract situation, this team is never dull, is it?
It's very dysfunctional. Yeah. And we were all talking about that at the rink on Saturday. Just like there's always something. It is very dysfunctional, and you have to think. I mean, you have to think like it likely comes from the top, right? It's consistent. You'd like to, and it really reflects, right? Like this team, and I think we said it before the year. This team has the players to be a competitive team.
Yes.
Just in this environment, it isn't working.
Yeah.
So who knows?
So I'll leave you with one thing. I want to see Travis Dermott play. I really do. I thought maybe we would have, if Quinn Hughes didn't dress yesterday. I thought, well, that's his chance. But then it was Burrows that would have come in. It looks like not Dermott. So maybe Dermott. Yeah. Oh, by the way, was Dermott wearing a different color jersey, like non-contact? No, was he a full participant?
All 8 defensemen were wearing the same color.
Okay.
At Morning Skate, he is not in a non-contact anymore.
Okay.
I imagine, looking at the schedule here, if he's not 100%, he can miss 2 games and not play till next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Right. Like in a whole nother week. I don't see the Canucks. You do still have Kyle Burrows as an option if you do want to pull. Riley still in the lineup. You do have Christian Wolanin up as well right now, who was on an absolute heater in Abbotsford.
They actually sent him back down again.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess they don't have him there anymore then.
Yeah.
But either way, like I think Burrows comes in first. Just because you can give Dermott another full week and not risk anything.
Good point. Good point. Okay, that's fair. Not that he's going to move the needle that much, but I'm still curious for sure.
I might be wrong.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think we'll wrap up there. Folks, if you enjoyed, make sure you hit subscribe. If you missed any part, you can rewind back to the beginning, or you can listen on your way to work tomorrow on your favorite podcast platform. It should be up there in about 15 or 20 minutes. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of the above. You can find me at ParkersPucks on Twitter, on YouTube, wherever. You can find Clay at Canuck Clay on YouTube, Twitter, wherever. Clay, any parting words on this fine Tuesday evening?
Yeah, I think thank you everyone. We had like 130 people in here at our peak. That was awesome. And Parker, I'll just say I'm pretty happy for us from a standpoint of we were both blessed with great experiences this week. You with the Botchford Project, I got to meet Roberto and see my billboard once again, which I can never get sick of because I'm so cocky that way. But overall, I thought we had a good chat. We had a good week. The Canucks were at least, it's funny perspective. If they won the first two and then lost back-to-back 5-1s, this whole city would be up in arms. But the fact that they lost two, and now they're coming off, not the best teams that they beat, but at least it's 2 wins and a chance to go to 500 with a win tomorrow. Yeah, big picture is probably not the best for our grand rebuild and getting competitive. But as a fan last night, I can't complain. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is funny. Your billboard from the media entrance, you're just overlooking everyone. They all look up and see you up there.
My apologies. Not really.
All right, folks. Hope you all enjoyed. We should be back next Monday. Good next Monday.
Yep.
Cool. For real. Next Monday, 10 p.m. Sharp. Have a good night, everyone, and we will see you next week.